Let's see here. Facebook share group. Select group, PBNC. Trying to launch it on Facebook Live. Give me just a second, y'all. Okay, it looks like it's working. Okay. All right, can you guys all hear me? I see Rick's here and Marquise is here. Yay! We're a little early, so that's good. All right. I just came flying through the door. I'm gonna go get me a drink of water. Be right back. Yeah. Hey there, Bryce.
Hey, Ann, how you doing?
Ooh, run with my head
Yeah,
cut off as usual.
yeah, and I got my workout with my 18 f-stop filter today.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah, yeah,
I just did a makeshift little, wasn't really a pinhole camera. I just did like a little
yeah,
pinhole so I could look
yeah,
look down on the ground at it
yeah.
as I packed
I've
my car.
yeah, I validated my filter to make sure there's no leakage by taking a bunch of strobes and pointing at it at full tilt.
Oh, funny.
Uh, it took I broke the breakers several times before I could get it right.
Right.
Yeah, but I think I threw out at maybe somewhere around like 10,000 watt seconds at it.
Uh-huh.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Nice. Did you
It's
get
weird to
any?
me. Like, oh yeah, I got some. I mean, it's so filtered down, and I only got 400 millimeters to play with. It's just a crescent sun. That's all it is.
Nice. Yeah, it
You
was
can't
just a
see
little
any
crescent, but
detail.
it was
Yeah,
fun. It was definitely fun.
yeah,
The last one in this area definitely was more totality than this one was. So,
yeah.
but it was still
Pennsylvania,
interesting to see.
yeah, Pennsylvania was like half covered when I was up there in 2017.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. People were taking snapshots from my LCD screen, and they realized that it had really cruddy resolution. They're like, "Oh, cheat, cheat, cheat." I'm like, it's not gonna work as well as you think."
Right. Yeah, my son's down was down in Colombia. That's where he lives, and I think they had full totality down there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
And that's only an hour from here, so it was interesting here too.
yeah. We're 80% in
Hey, Rick.
Raleigh.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't bad. It was
Yeah,
cool. But it would have been cool to be in the
yeah.
100% totality.
Yeah, my
It's
company
amazing.
in Ohio is actually right on the line of totality. Like it
Oh,
goes over the
nice.
parking lot. And the funny thing is overcast.
So that looks like we got Gary joining us.
Yeah. Welcome aboard, Gary.
Give him a minute for
Yeah,
everything to pull up, right?
yeah.
It takes a second.
Yes, I want to use the camera, the computer, yeah, computer sound system. Yeah, I want to use that.
Yeah, it looks like on Facebook we've got let's see here. We've got Gene Watson, Joanne Hayes is on there, Emerson MacArthur's there, Kimberly's on there. They say Gary Jones, Aaron Taylor. So it looks like we got several people on Facebook Live watching too. So that's cool. Oh, did we lose Gary?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. You moved around.
I didn't go anywhere. I'm right
I
here.
know. You moved around on my screen. I was like, wait a minute, where'd he go?
Apologize for being just so last minute. I went to put on my webcam and it died. So I didn't realize it was dead. So I had to hook up a cam, one of my R7 as my webcam. So that took a second.
That's great. No worries at
I was
all.
like,
It
had to
takes
like
a
run
few for
out to the
everybody to
car. Good. All right, no problem.
everybody was talking about the eclipse anyway. So there you go.
Like worst day to do anything. Like the whole world ground to a halt today because
I
of the
know.
eclipse.
I know it.
Absolutely bonkers.
So
Yeah.
funny. So
I
funny.
seriously, I think that you could be doing an eclipse drinking game. Not when anytime anybody says an eclipse, you have to do a shot. Anytime you see a Facebook post that doesn't have the word eclipse in it, you have to do a shot. Because if you did it the other way around, it'd kill you.
Right. Yeah, I know. Because it was on everything. So hilarious. So we do have a lot of people on the Facebook Live as well. So I'll try and keep an eye on that for any questions as we go.
No
But this is
problem.
mostly just a little interview about your coursework and what you're going to be offering, just so that people can hear what you're going to be doing.
Perfect.
And then if they have any questions. So but I do want you to do a little bit of like how you got into this. I know the first time I saw you was probably imaging. It was a bunch of years ago, and you may have just been starting out. And I think you were at like a coach's corner thing. It was a while back.
Oh gosh.
It
It's
was a
funny. Like
long time
I
ago.
honestly remember my first Imaging USA was 2009 in Nashville, Tennessee. My wife and I went together. We were volunteers, and
Uh-huh.
every class was a magic show. Everything
Yeah.
was like, whoa, whoa, And all the thoughts in my head at the time were like, I could never do that. We'll never be here. They're so cool. They're such rock stars. And now it's like I get to put on the magic show for people, and it's amazing how that can turn around. And I use that when I teach people. I'm like, wherever you're at right now, it's not as bad as you just got laid off in 2008 and started a photography business with your girlfriend, and guys had like $100 to your name crying in your 2000 Toyota Corolla. Bad. Your life isn't that bad. So you're not nearly as far away as you think you are from your goals. So like I know everybody's got a sob story, but however far away you think you are from the success you want, you're probably not as far away as I was at the point when I started. So anyway, thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to it. I love North Carolina. I have family and friends and have been to North Carolina many times, everywhere from Asheville to Fayetteville, Chapel Hill. I'm very excited about Chapel Hill. It has a great music culture. And I used to be a musician.
Mhm.
We used to play shows in Chapel Hill.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, absolutely. Couldn't be more excited. And my very best friend, who was the best man at my wedding. Well, I had my two best buddies. One of them lives there with his family, and so I hardly ever get to see him. So it's going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to and anywhere north of Florida in July is a blessing. We'll just take it as
Right.
far north of Florida as you can possibly get would be great.
It is. It's hot. I used to live in Orlando and then down in Naples, so I get it. And my kids are down in Naples, so yeah, I spend a
At
lot of
least
time back and
Naples is
forth.
close to the ocean. That's 10 degrees cooler on
Right.
average
It
than
does.
Orlando. Yeah.
It
Orlando, there's
keeps
no break, no escape from the
it's
heat and humidity.
yeah, it's rough there for sure. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And I just want you to kind of give a little outline about your academy class so people can hear about it and a little bit about what you're going to offer and, about the hands-on, what they need to bring, all that fun stuff.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I have started really working out the details of this class, and I've given similar ones and refining it as I go. So this will probably be like the fifth time I've done this full day workshop. So you guys are going to get the best version where it's still new enough to where I'm excited about it, but not so many times where I'm just over it. So you guys are going to get the very best version of me. So what we're going to do is take this volume headshot, take a volume headshot masterclass. And so this is basically going to be everything you need to know to price, design a website, market, and execute volume headshots. So that includes any job from 5 people to 5,000 people. You will confidently be able to. Oh, we got somebody who needs
Hold
to
on,
mute.
Anthony, can you mute yourself? You're bleeding in here.
Anthony, Mute your
Yeah, I'm
mic.
here.
Mute,
I'm
mute your
here.
you
Sorry.
mute
Yeah,
your mic,
sorry.
brother.
thank you.
Okay. It's okay. There's a Chihuahua in the office next door to mine, and so yeah, my studio neighbor, the landlord, has a Chihuahua named Willie Nelson, and I can't tell you how many times I've been on a call when Willie Nelson pops off. So, that it's totally acceptable. Don't worry about it, Anthony. Happens to everybody. So essentially, you're gonna be able to walk in not knowing anything, even if you just have a successful boutique portrait and wedding business or boudoir business. And I'm going to teach you how to speak corporate, how to design a website that sells, where to go get those clients, how to keep them coming in, how to execute those jobs, how to bid and price, and then how to retain those clients to grow that business, whether you want it to be a side hustle, a totally separate thing, no matter whether you're a full-time photographer or you're a teacher and you're going to grow this on the side, or whether you already have a successful business and you're looking to open up new income streams and new avenues of income. And so, but you have to know how to talk to these people because they do not talk like artists, and they're not interested in coffee and cats. They're not interested in your feelings. They don't want to fall in love with you. They want to get this thing crossed off their list. And I'm going to show you how to do that and how to design a message and a business, and then how to physically light, pose, shoot, execute, and deliver those jobs in a way that's going to leave you and your client with basically no admin work whatsoever.
Well, that sounds amazing. And I have to figure out how I can take that class, seeing how I've got to like do a whole lot of other stuff.
Oh man, that's the problem with being involved behind the scenes of an
I
organization.
know. It's like I
You-
don't like missing the academy classes in East Coast School. It's not fair.
yeah, it's very cool. And I was on the board of my local PTA affiliate for 8 years. My wife for 10. I was on the board of my state affiliate. And I know that how much work goes into making stuff happen behind the scenes, and you just hardly ever even get to go to anything. You're always making it happen for everybody else. So,
Yeah.
just remember at some point to pass the torch,
Oh
so
yeah.
that you could go back to being a happy member attending classes again one day.
That's so great. All right. So do any of you guys have any questions?
I could give the class right now if you guys want to go. Just hit me with some questions. What do you want? If I answer enough questions, you won't have to come to the class. So
I
that's
know,
pretty.
but yeah, we don't want that because they need to come to the class.
What gear is somebody going to need to attend your course?
Great question. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that hands-on classes have some value, but I don't think they have a lot of value in the context that I'm going to give you. Honestly, only because if you have 50 people there and everybody's just clicking away, trying to get in with the models and practicing, like imagine half the day it's just you looking at somebody's butt while they take a picture of somebody and you're waiting in line to do it. So there's a lot more work to be done. And I believe that in a group like the PPNC, that I'm sure pretty much everybody could competently deliver a professional quality headshot. So that if you want to learn lighting and posing, I can give you some tricks to make it fast. But I'm not the guy you come to when you really want to master lighting. And so you don't really need that from me. I'm the guy who does this, who's already shot 2,000 headshots already since January 1st. And I still haven't broken 35 hours of work in 1 week yet this year. So I can teach you how to make that happen. And not many people can. And so that's what you're there. So I would suggest bringing a laptop to take notes. Or if you learn by writing down, bring that and just have your phone with you. And if you want to take pictures of setups, that's cool. But ultimately, it's more of a demo class than a hands-on class, because I don't like to waste time showing you guys how to do something that 2/3 of the people in the room are already going to know technically how to execute. Does that make sense?
Oh,
That
no, you
totally
make
makes
perfect
sense.
And you
Yeah.
answered the question very elegantly. Thank you.
Thank you. And what I meant to say was, you ain't got to bring nothing. Just bring yourself. But
Yeah.
I am pretty good technically with gear and stuff. And if you have questions that you want to ask or anything specific, I typically will provide you with an entire top to bottom list of all the gear that I use, and you can kind of check that against what you have and see if that's going to be useful to you. We spend enough time just looking at the gear that I got to show you what I use, let alone going through 50 people and doing the same. And so I want you to leave. I have written down a list of 12 things that I need you to leave knowing. And I have to hit all those 12 things, or I feel like I didn't give you guys the value. And so I think going home with 150 pictures that you took while you were there that you're never going to look at again is probably not the best value that I can give you, at least not in my mind. So I'm obsessed with overwhelming value for people that attend my classes. I want you to feel like that you can't even hold it all in your brain that I gave you so much.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, thank you.
And
Anytime.
so you're going to go over stuff about the website. Is that what you had said?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
I really do believe that one of the things, and I coach photographers, I offer one-to-one coaching from time to time. I have a half a dozen appointments a month that I reserve for that. I'm not a life coach. I think coach is even a bad word. Call it a consultant. And so I consult with photographers in short term who need help with certain things like this. And designing their website is the place I always come back to. Because unlike many other types of the business, the headshots are a commercial enterprise, and the website is the nerve center of your entire business. Because think about it this way. If you are looking for a wedding photographer or a boudoir photographer or a high school senior photographer or a baby photographer, most people are interacting with the world on a mobile device for those sorts of things. Whereas the people who hire you for headshots, not only are they interacting for the most part on a desktop or laptop, they're doing it during business hours, and that's why. So it's going to be the one area of the business where people are not shopping on mobile for these sorts of things. So, and they're going to look to have that transaction not on social media, where many offices are not really supposed to be on social media during business hours. They're not going to be hunting down a headshot photographer for their boss while they're home with their kids. They're going to do that at their desk. And they're not going to do that on social media. Largely, they're going to do that using Google and going through websites. And so your website becomes the nerve center for your entire operation. And it has to do a lot of things very, very quickly and efficiently in order to convert. Your website must be a conversion machine. And I'm going to give you the step-by-step process and even break down my own website start to finish and show you how I use it to convert. And the thought processes I go back to when I reevaluate my website every once in a while and say what is working and what isn't working. And then you'll be able to take that to any website platform and copy it. And then how to drive traffic to that website, because there's no point in getting 1 million hits on a website that has a broken link or it doesn't do it for you. You have to get the place where they're going to convert ready to receive the traffic, and then you drive the traffic there. Otherwise, it could really hurt your authority with Google, your credibility. You could miss out on lots and lots of money. So you build the place for people to land, and then you send them there. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do both of those things step by step. We got a lot of work to do in this class. I could spend a whole day just on website stuff.
Yeah.
But I've got it narrowed down to these are the essentials. No problem.
Okay. That's great. Anybody else have some questions?
Hit me with it. Go ahead. Hit me with the I don't want to attend your class question. So I'm going to get my question answered now. And you might be noticing my painted fingernails. I have 3 daughters. And when your 3 daughters decide that you want to get they want to paint your fingernails, you're lucky if they even consult you on what color they're going to be. You just have to get it done. And so this is when they get bored, you only get 8 fingers painted. So that's basically how that happened. And I wear it proudly because this isn't kid fingernail polish. This is the real deal. So it's on there until my nails grow out, I guess.
That's great.
That's super sweet. And I do have a question. In fact, 2.
Go ahead.
So one is, would you also be providing scripts that we can use with the clients?
Oh, yeah. This is actually fantastic because the vast majority of this work does not happen on the phone, although some of it does happen on the phone. That it's a great question, specifically from the perspective of someone who's used to the portrait and wedding world and in-person sales. And so a script implies that you're going to spend any amount of time talking to them, which you probably aren't. And so I do have email templates that I've had for a while, and you'd be like, and it's my 10 most used email responses. But the bottom line is, when it comes to scripting, what's great about this is you literally use a CRM like 17 Hats or something like that. And you write the email once and it's written forever. And literally the responses to everything is like 2 sentences, maybe less than that. I want you to like respond to your clients when because they don't call you in this like exploratory thing. That implies that the way that they find you brings them to you with a lack of information. And then you have to go through your pricing, and then you have to go through your process. And you probably put pricing last because you're afraid to tell them that the session's $2,000 and includes $1,000 print credit, or however the heck you do it. You know, if you're doing it well, that's how you do it. I'm not trying to belittle that at all. But the opposite when you're dealing commercially is they come to you knowing what you charge, and they come to you knowing what your process is. They come to you armed with information. So when they come to you, the only thing they need is a written estimate to compare against the other people that they are asking for a written estimate. So it's like a bidding process a lot of times. Even on those smaller team jobs, they're getting multiple quotes for the same thing. And so I grew up, my parents are photographers, or they're not dead, they're retired. So my parents were professional photographers. They retired about 10 years ago, closed their studio, and now they run a dog farm in Northern Florida. So they're not dead. But they were a boutique portrait studio, and they did, you know, they were part of the Chuck Lewis Inner Circle. They got the CDs. I remember listening to those driving around, or tapes actually, and in-person sales and getting high dollar, low volume portrait studio. And I grew up in that. And so I know that that stuff works, and I know that it's valuable, and I don't want to belittle it. But if you try to handle corporate and commercial work that way, you will book nothing, like, ever. You will not only book nothing, you will get ghosted by your clients. If you try to get them on the phone and you don't have to do a discovery call to get them to like you. You have to answer their questions. You have to go like, and the only two questions are you available? And can you send me a written quote? Even if you get to the point where they're asking you how much it would cost, your website isn't quite as good, as optimized as it should be. They shouldn't be asking you how much it costs. They should know when they contact you. The only thing they got to reach out to you for is a quote. They need a written quote that they can take back to their team. That's it. That's all they need. And so they should have all that stuff going in. So all you have to do is answer the questions with as few words as possible. In fact, just pretend every word you type takes a day off your life, and you will just give great email to these clients. Just as few words as possible. And I'll give you really good examples, both of how to do it in the boutique business and how to do it in the corporate commercial world. And I mean, I know I've said like 1,000 words on this so far, but you're going to go, oh, I get it. And you'll be done. Like, it's literally, oh, okay. Yep. I can do that. You got to kind of deprogram yourself, if that makes sense, from drawing people into this onboarding process, this discovery process. That's just not how these things get done. And I'll go through exactly how to do that, and how to get, and again, this comes back to your website, how to get your website ready for people to just contact you already knowing that you're in their ballpark and they just need to get a quote, and that's it.
Got it. Thank you so much.
No problem. My pleasure. I hope that helps.
Sure. And I have one more, and I mean, that's just what I want to know is there a provision for us to record your session?
Oh gosh, no, absolutely not. And I understand why. And let me explain that to you. I have 3 pillars that are the income that puts food on the table of my family. And one is my photography studio, which that's the big bulk of it. The other is my teaching, my education, and also the Headshot Tools, which is the software platform that I founded with my 2 partners, Justin and Dave. And so what happens now is I've noticed this trend when people come into a class and they will literally spend the entire time just recording you on their phone, and or they'll ask to put their phone up and they'll record the audio of the whole thing. What I do is I hit the road like a comedian trying out material. And I go through terrific time and expense and time away from my family to put together a really kick-ass class. And I go all over the country and I perfect this class live with people. And by the time I get back from that, I usually take that material and I turn it into a digital course that I then plan to sell. And if there are 10,000 recordings of it out there bopping around, that hurts my ability to feed my children. That's reason 1. Reason 2 is you're never, ever going to watch it. You're never going to listen to it. You're never going to look at it again. You're going to have a cramp in your tricep from holding your phone up. You're going to fill your entire phone's hard drive up with 4K footage, and you are never going to go back to it. I mean, think about all the times that you go to a conference and you take pages of notes like a madman, like Kevin Spacey in Seven. You're just write stuff down, and you get home and you never pick up those notebooks ever again. And so I'm really crafting this class to give you so much immediately useful practical knowledge that you're going to be able to employ it. And at some point down the road, my plan is to turn this into a digital course that takes all the best stuff that I did it on the road. And so I ask, I can't do it. I'm not going to bully anybody or break anybody's arm, but I ask several times during the course, no recording. The only exception that I will make for recording or have any recording device at all is if somebody has a disability. And so occasionally you have somebody, I have a man who's come to several of my classes who's deaf. He's completely and profoundly deaf, and he can't really do a lot with it live, but he gets it transcribed so that he can read it back later. And so I always make sure that I've got his microphone pinned to me when I'm teaching. And so if there's a case that I need to accommodate somebody with a disability, somebody who's differently abled, I'm 100% happy to do that. But I do not like it to have my classes recorded except by me. And sometimes I do record that audio so that I can listen back to it and go, oh, I definitely don't ever want to use that joke again. So and then there's finally, I know this seems like a lot and I don't mean to unload on you, but finally, groups like PPNC are unique in all of the industry, where every bit of education you can imagine is fighting against these PPA affiliate groups that are trying to get people to show up in person. And if everything is recorded and shown later, like nobody would show up. It hurts their ability to grow. What makes them special is the live event that gets people in the room. And so knowing that you have a recording, they'll just be hitting up the PPNC to get that recording. And PPNC would have to sell it at some point because there'd be too much demand. And so we're in the live events business as PPA affiliates. It's incredibly important. I'm making time to be with you live right now, although I think it's probably going to get used on Facebook. But I mean, it takes me 1,000 hours and 15 years of shooting to give you what I'm going to give you. And it takes, the PPNC has probably been around since 1980, and they're struggling against everybody in the world who's just throwing half-ass education at you, and they're putting their money where their mouth is to get butts and seats in a live venue. And so there's so many reasons why I'm against it. And I hope you understand why. And if you don't agree, if any of you, not just you who asked the question, but if any of you don't agree with that, I understand. But we're just going to agree to disagree on that one. And that's okay. I just wanted to explain myself to you.
Thank you so much. No, that's completely valid. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So, I swear I'm not a mean person.
No, and I agree. This organization is about live in-person stuff. That's how we thrive, and it's where the friendships happen. And
it's the only thing that is.
We've been around longer than PPA. This is a very old organization.
Is that right? Longer than PPA?
I think now, I know it was incorporated, I think it's been over 75 years, but I think the organization's approaching 100 years. It's been around very, very long time. This is probably one of the older ones. It might be the oldest one. I don't know. It's been around a long time.
Yeah, I in Florida, I know that their organization they incorporated sometime in like 1924 or something, and they only missed a convention year during World War II.
Funny.
So these organizations have such a long history of bringing photographers together. And I honestly believe that associations, like people who show up and join and become a part of associations, are really a special group. It's not all people, not all photographers that want to be a part of something like that. It is incredibly special you really do. It filters out all the noise in the world to where you can find your people, the ones who have a volunteer spirit and the ones who show up for things. I honestly, this is why when I do full day workshops, I almost completely and exclusively do them with PPA affiliate groups, or what they call photography network partners now. I'm not really sure, but and I do that because of that exact reason, because I really truly believe in it, and because groups like that, PPA, FPP, the Professional Photographers of Central Florida, groups like that have made my career. And so I could be giving workshops and charging $1,000 a person and just do it in my studio, make everybody come to me. But I love to support these affiliates with the education as best as I would, bring whatever resources I happen to have to help. And so that live event with association-minded, volunteer-spirited people is so special. And I think we should try and protect it as much as we can. Not to say that we don't engage with technology and we don't do live streams and we don't provide supplemental education material, but to say that we reserve certain things to be kind of special and sacred, and that this is when we gather. And this is when we go really deep into it, and when you get the best stuff. And that's just, I think, what's so special about these groups.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So Emerson is on Facebook right now, and he had a question from back when you were talking about something about 10 minutes ago. He said, do you travel to a variety of areas, or was the 2,000 plus clients shot under 35 hours throughout the year within your local market?
Oh boy, well, I am going to break down the details of this to you, but one of the advantages that I have is I live in Orlando area. I'm in Winter Park, Florida, just outside Orlando. I could literally throw a rock into the across the Orlando city limit.
Oh yeah.
And Orlando is the #2 event destination in the country, out just behind Las Vegas. So we get more convention visitors to Orlando than almost anyone else, literally, except for Las Vegas. And so that fuels our economy here. And we ended up sort of crafting our business around it, which is part of what I'm going to talk about is look what's in your market, and you have to decide your marketing plan based on your market. I'm not a big believer in people who say, oh, this won't work in my market. I am a big believer in saying this will work in my market, and finding that thing, and even changing your marketing to the next town over if you're if that's where the work is. And so because of that, every convention eventually comes to Orlando, right? And so, the National Kitchen and Bath Show and whatever, they all come to Orlando, the National Association of Chiefs of Police, Comic-Con or MegaCon, and all the cons, they all come by Orlando at some point. And a lot of conventions rotate. Very few are in the same place every year. I would say not very few, but I'd say the minority are in the same place every year. So what happens is when a client comes and they hire you as a local vendor to bring in headshot photography, event video coverage. If they like working with you, if you made life really easy for them, if you help them cross those things off their list with as little fuss as possible, they can become incredibly loyal clients. And so when I travel to San Diego and Sacramento and Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston and Chicago and wherever else I go to these other cities that have convention work, it's almost exclusively because a client came to Orlando, they liked what we did, and then they wanted us to do their next event, which happened to be in another city. So I know photographers that market to other cities that aren't theirs. But I will tell you that my personal experience being a father of 4 small children and a very patient wife is that I'm not out there trying to shoot away from home in as many cities as possible. When I do that, I'm usually doing it to keep a client. And so if I know that in 2 years they're coming back to Orlando, I want to get that job too. And so traveling for work like this isn't particularly glamorous. It's usually literally like fly, hotel, shoot, plane, home. And it's an absolute slog sometimes. And you never really make as much money profit-wise as you do when the jobs are in your town. But we do it to sort of get the job for the next time it comes back to town. We always make money on it, but they very rarely have like all of a sudden have an extra $10,000 to pay you to fly. So they're almost always wheeling and dealing to get you there because they like you and your service was excellent. And so that does happen. And so I probably have, 8 or 9 clients that I travel for when their conventions are not in my market. And that's just because they're really good clients. If you make their life easy, they will fly you out rather than try to look for somebody else if you do a good enough job.
Nice.
Did I answer the question?
Yeah, he said outstanding. Thank you for the response.
Okay, no problem. I hope that's useful. Like you can use Google Ads and you can start running ads. You can create a website that says you go anywhere for X amount of dollars. I mean, I know photographers that market to the big convention markets. You got New York, you got Chicago, you got Los Angeles, Orlando, Vegas, San Diego, and those are really the top tier. And then they sort of go down in tiers based on how many convention visitors, their capacity, stuff like that, how long their season runs. And you could 100% market outside of your own area and have a successful. Maybe you're not married, maybe you're just single and ready to mingle, and you want to fly shooting heads all around the country. You can 100% build that business. But if I tried to build that business, I'd be divorced. And so I'm going to try to stay home as much as I possibly can, because my wife is a patient woman, but only so patient, I think. If I was gone 6 months of the year, I think she'd be a very unhappy camper.
Yeah, with 4 kids, uh-huh.
100%.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yes. Are you able to hear me? This is Deshaun Gales.
Hey,
Yeah, we can
Deshaun.
hear you.
Hey, Gary. I could not find that raised hand.
No, I know. Dude, they keep moving the interface around on Zoom.
I
It's like,
know.
but we got you. What do you need to know, man?
Now I do create headshots with people individually or ministry shots. I was just recently asked to do a full precinct, but I haven't followed up, and they haven't followed up because they haven't got all the officers together. But I will do headshots as a portrait photographer. But a lot of times, me being Mr. Nice Guy, they ask for headshots, and then, well, can you take a full body? Can you take me like this? Or can you come do me like? And I, as a professional, Gary, if you could give me some surefire ways, um, to let these people know that no, you ask for headshots because portraits take longer, in my opinion. And then
I think I see what you're getting at here. So what you're talking about is the scope of work on a headshot session creeps a little bit sometimes when they come in and you're in like, oh, I'm here to do a head and shoulders portrait, and they're like, oh, by the way, I brought 16 pairs of shoes. Like I've been in that position. I'm in that position all the time. And so when you continually run into something like this in your business, when you keep hitting the same speed bump, you can either like just swear every time you hit the speed bump and be like, clients are angry, or you could be like, oh my God, my market is trying to tell me something. And there's a really something to be learned here, because I feel like what happens with photographers a lot of times, and this may or may not be you, so forgive me, Deshaun, if I'm pigeonholing you a little bit, but I'm going to make a good example about it. We'll just pretend that you did this wrong, okay?
Okay.
All right. But I find a lot, I've seen this so many times in photography groups where photographers are like, this is a headshot session and this is a branding session, and you came here for this. If you want anything below the nipples, it's going to cost you more. And I just can't wrap my mind around why you wouldn't listen to what your market is telling you. If you're running into this over and over again, clients are saying, I need more than a headshot. And I also don't understand why you would charge differently to zoom out. And I get that dressing an entire set requires a little more effort. But if it were me, and it is me, because I do this all the time, the first thing that I like to try and help photographers understand is that headshot, in terms of just being head and shoulders, is our word. That's a photographer word. Like, we're the only ones who put that limit on it. And then you end up, if you believe that and you believe a client should abide by that, you spend a lot of time training people. Well, this is what this word means. So what you basically do is you're saying no a lot, instead of going, well, I also need a thing for a thing and this and that. And I go, yeah, bring it. Just bring 10 outfits. Let's do this. And I will, because I get paid by the image. I get paid for my session time and then by the image. My pricing is cost plus deliverables. So if your time, maybe look at your pricing, maybe evaluate your process, maybe get out of your head a little bit and be like, well, all the muggles are asking me for this. So maybe, I'll adjust myself for what my market's telling me. And so what I do now is a headshot session will very often be a 2-hour branding session in the studio. And if I play my cards right, they end up spending $1,500, $2,000 on that session instead of $200. I was limiting myself by limiting them. And so I like the ability to be flexible at a session. I like to create really cool portraits with my headshot clients, because they're also not even expecting it. Because then I'll do all their headshots, I'll get their standard stuff, and I'll be like, hey, we got a little bit of time left. Is it cool with you if we use this amazing outfit you brought to kind of do something really cool? And then I try my very best, and I don't always succeed, but I try my very best to create a portrait that makes them look like they're on the cover of Vanity Fair. I create a portrait that looks like they're the cover of Fast Company or Forbes. And I try to give them something. And conversely, it also feeds my creativity, because headshots on a white background, which is 90% of what I shoot, just doesn't really scratch that creative itch in my soul. I got to be honest with you, no matter how many you shoot. And so I would start by asking myself, why am I limiting headshot? because when a client says headshot, when a non-photographer, what I call a muggle, I invented that word, it's my word. When a non-photographer uses the word headshot, they have a much broader definition of it. It's almost like, think about it this way. If you're trying to optimize your website for Google, right? And you're trying to optimize your website for business portraiture specialist. And you could get #1 for that keyword on the first page in the #1 spot in about 6 hours. And do you know why? Because no one else is actually ever going to type that into Google. You have to do your research and find out what are people typing in when they're looking for headshots. And that very often becomes surprising when you get that information, but it's very hard. You have to actively try and get out of the head of a working professional photographer, because people talk differently about photography who aren't photographers. And so I might try to find a way, instead of getting frustrated and feeling like someone's trying to sneak something in on me, I would try to turn that into a positive and a positive cash flow for my business and also for my mental health, because it's really frustrating when people just aren't following the rules, you know, that you set down. And so maybe the rules are bad. Maybe it's your expectations that need adjusting, or maybe your client's behavior and your expectations can meet somewhere in the middle. But if I consistently had clients trying to pull one over on me, I really sit down and ask myself how I can turn that into something that's going to be a better experience for my clients, less frustrating for me, and more profitable for me. Deshaun, did I answer that for you?
Yes, Gary, I appreciate it. You have made me ready for whatever else you have to offer.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. And you know what? In these situations, I find it's very, very hard sometimes to be honest about our businesses, about our frustrations. And the other thing I really love about getting together in person with no streaming, with nothing being recorded, is that you're in the trust tree, right? Like you can just be like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I can go, you came to a safe place and I'm going to help you. And everybody in this room is going to be a part of it. And if there is anywhere you need to go into that side door, into a safe place with a bunch of people who are all struggling with the same thing, there is no better place. Have you ever asked a question in a Facebook group and just got the absolute crap kicked out of you, got your teeth kicked in by some gatekeeping douchebag? Like, it's really hard. Or get short, glib, dismissive answers. Or ladies, you ever had some old billy goat tell you, like, mansplain you something because they didn't read the question properly? I'm telling you, like, this live special thing that when we get together, that we're able to just be in the perfect place to learn with each other. And that's one of the reasons I love it so much. So Deshaun, I already know you're going to get a ton out of it because of your willingness to ask those questions and to share, because believe me when I say it is the safest place you could possibly be. There are things that I only teach in person for that reason, because if this is a thing somebody wants to do bad enough to get their butt to a thing, I'm going to give you everything I got, and I'm going to give you stuff that I don't teach anywhere else. Okay, who's next? Okay, hold on, you guys wait. I'm going to get a beer. I'm just kidding.
That's what I need.
It's just a LaCroix. It's just a LaCroix. Sorry, I keep that's the best part about my working life right now, is just having a fridge under my desk. It's just the best. Like, what's better than a fridge at your desk? Zero things. All right, children, personal success, satisfaction. Nah, a fridge at your desk. That's basically the best thing. Nobody's laughing at that. Okay. All right. Well, that's one of those jokes. I'd play that back in the recording and I just wouldn't use it again.
I'm busy asking my husband for a beer from the brewery. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
It's like, send me a picture of the board, please.
Yeah, we got I think about 5 minutes left in the stream. So if you guys have any other questions about the class or headshot stuff in general, I'm at your disposal, and I'll try to keep the answers blessedly short so you can get in. So hit me up. You can even post it in the chat, which I now have open and will monitor. Thank you, Deshaun, for bringing that to my attention. It's right over here. If not,
yeah, I just saw
we
it.
can start happy hour with LaCroix.
Yeah, yours isn't a real beer. I want a real beer.
Oh no, I got early to bed tonight. I got a tattoo appointment tomorrow. You can't drink before a tattoo appointment.
Oh, no.
Energy. Which is part of my not working 40 hours a week. I have a whole day tomorrow to go get tattooed. So
nice.
it's pretty awesome.
I'm checking Facebook to see if there's anybody else that has a question, and I'm not seeing anything. Anybody else here on Zoom have any questions?
All right.
If
Well,
not, we may wrap it up.
that's fine. Let me just invite you to do a couple of things in anticipation of the class that might help you prepare. I have a YouTube channel where I post a lot of stuff that's very specific to headshots and headshot photography, specifically team stuff, including my gear, processes, bidding, and I give really cool, short, sensible advice on those things. If you just go to YouTube and you go, it's Gary Hughes Official on YouTube, and subscribe to that. I just crossed 10,000 followers a couple weeks ago. Pretty excited about it. So I put a good amount of effort into it. I don't put out quite as many videos as I'd like to, but when something becomes important, like hitting that speed bump over and over again, like we talked about, Deshaun, I make a video about it, and hopefully that'll help you there. There's a Facebook group for the Headshot Tools community. You do not have to be a paid Headshot Tools user to join this group. It's called the Headshot Tools Beta Group. And go ahead and request that to join, and just mention that you heard about it from the Professional Photographers of North Carolina, or just type in heard about it on Facebook. And there's a whole community of 1,500 headshot photographers in there, and the positivity of that culture blows my mind. Everybody is so helpful and so great, and people are asking everything from pricing, bidding, processing, and help with software. It's such a great community. I'd love to have you join that, and you'll get a lot out of that leading up to it. And then finally, if you want to follow a little bit more day-to-day stuff, I do post some stories and reels on my Instagram, which is at Gary Hughes Official. And if you go to my website, it is HughesFioretti.com. That's my studio /education. I'll see if I can pop a book into there, or pop a link into there. That website is where you can sign up for my email list. I have a weekly email newsletter. It's called Photographers Only. And in that newsletter, I talk about where I'm going to be speaking next, new videos I have coming out, gear that I'm using, anything else that kind of comes into my world as it pertains to having a successful headshot photography business. And I share that on a weekly basis. It's not a selling thing. It's literally just a let's stay in touch. And I think that goes out like every Tuesday. And so you can use that link, and right underneath the main title of the page, you can sign up for my email list. And also, all that other stuff I just told you about, latest videos and gear, all that stuff is all listed right on that page. So keep up with me any way you can. I'm excited to spend a whole day with you coming up this July as part of the Carolina Photo Expo, and I will give you my absolute best. And so let's have a great time, and then we can all have a beer together after the class, because I'll need one. I'll absolutely need one.
And I'm gonna post all those links on the Facebook Zoom, or the Facebook Live as well. I just posted that one in there, but I'll get the other ones in there too
Thank
for
you.
them to join the other things. So yeah. Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, happy Monday. Happy Eclipse Day. Everybody take a shot, and
I know, take a shot.
and I'll see you in July. Can't wait.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.